Hi, friends. Hey, thought I'd take a minute and talk to you a little bit about resistance bands. So, you may or may not know, there are a ton of different resistance bands. Today, I'm going to focus on the mini band. Sometimes it's called a glute band or booty band. So, there's tons of resistance bands. They can be used for training your muscles. I love bands. I'm kind of a band expert. There's things like a figure eight band. There is elastic that you can cut. There is big loop bands that are really large that you can use with weight training. There's even tubing with handles, right? And all of these are great for our exercise training. But we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, the glute band. So, glute bands, I think, come in basically two different styles. So, you have ones that are the stretchy kind of rubber band style, usually made from some sort of latex. They feel like a giant elastic rubber band. They come in different colors. Usually, the colors correspond with a strength of resistance. And then the second camp of the glute band slash booty band, mini band, is the fabric bands. So, and same thing, these come in different colors, different strengths. But the main difference I find between the fabric ones and the elastic ones here is just that they're used a little bit differently, in my opinion. So I'm going to share with you right now ways that I like to use them so that if you're thinking about purchasing a band, you can kind of know which one would be right for you. So I find starting with the fabric bands, some of the pros of buying fabric bands, such as this, is a fabric band, as you notice right off the bat, tends to be nice and thick. A lot of times, these booty glute bands are used, as you can imagine, to sculpt the legs, the derriere, the bottom, and the hips. So, a lot of times, these go around the quads on the legs, and you'll do different exercises there. So, with these, and just one little thing I do want to say about the bands is, as I mentioned, they come in different colors and strengths. Unfortunately, this color coding is not standardized across the board. So, being a fitness professional and working in the fitness industry for 10 plus years now, I tend to work with SPRI bands, SPRI. And with those, they are very standardized. They'll be like, okay, red is the medium strength, blue is the heavy strength, purple is the extra heavy, this type of thing. But there's a lot of bands now on the market, and they come in any color of the rainbow. So don't necessarily think every red band you buy will be a medium. But if you do your research, you should be able to figure out kind of what strength your bands come in. So back to our fabric bands. So the pros of a band like this is the biggest one that people like is they don't tend to roll. A lot of them like this is a light to medium strength band. The inside of it has grippy elastic. So if you put this again around your quads and we're working out with it, it's going to grip onto your legs or your yoga pants. And no matter how many squats you do or hip abduction with it, you're going to, it's not going to move anywhere. So that's something a lot of people like about the fabric bands. Also, sometimes people just prefer these bands. They like the more fabric feel, they like the durability. These bands tend to last a long time and are good for many workouts. So that's some of the benefits of our band, the fabric band. Now, as I mentioned, I also am a huge fan of our stretchy latex band. So these come in some sort of stretchy fabric, or I'm sorry, stretchy elastic type material. I won't say it's always elastic or latex because there are latex free ones for people who have allergies, but it definitely has that kind of rubber band feel. So these types of bands are my personal favorite when choosing a band to work out with. And let me tell you why. So, first of all, these bands are very affordable. So you might be able to find on Amazon or even, as I mentioned, from Spry, one of my favorite companies. You might be able to find a whole pack, like they usually sell them in variety packs, where you might get four different strengths from light to your heavy weight. And you can choose per exercise, per workout, which strength you want to use. So these types of bands are super affordable. We're looking at a 5 pack of them for maybe $15 or so. It's very cheap and they will last you for a while. After a couple years of use, they do tend to eventually snap, but they're definitely a worthwhile investment that you could take with you anywhere when you travel and whatnot to have a workout item. Another thing that I prefer these bands to these bands for is if you are doing kind of cardio based training. So, like, for example, in my bar classes, I might have people lift to music. So let's say you had music playing and you were doing leg lifts out to the side to music. You're able to move these bands very quickly. So it makes it easier to do cardio based exercises with them. When you work with the thicker fabric band, you're not going to get as much motion in them. They typically, even in the lightweight, don't have as much give as the elastic band. So these are good for more traditional exercises where you would go through and maybe just very slowly do a certain amount of repetitions of an exercise. So if you are more interested in moving more quickly or doing more repetitions, doing things maybe again to music, kind of cycling through exercises quickly, then the thinner elastic based band will probably be your better choice. So you definitely get a little bit more action with your leg, with your glutes, with these. Also, another thing I like about with the elastic bands is sometimes in my classes, if we don't have access to things such as weights, dumbbells, what have you, these can actually they can work in the same way that a dumbbell would. So sometimes we might have in a class where you put them on the upper body and you do overhead press, chest press, different things like that. You can work triceps. So I think that the elastic bands are super versatile to utilize for both upper body, lower body, etc. Once again, the fabric bands, their biggest advantage, I think, in my mind, is they don't slip or roll. Now, I tell my students all the time, if we're using these bands, and depending on what clothing you're wearing to your class, depending on how big your movements are, these guys can roll. So I'd say this is the biggest disadvantage. So if you had this, picture this on your quads or your legs, and you do a leg lift just a little bit bigger than maybe you should, it might roll up or it might roll down. Tell people typically, as long as it's in the same place, even if it bunches up a little bit, you're still getting that resistance, you're still getting that workout. But there's something about that that tends to set people off, and then they have to fiddle with it the whole class, and it's agitating, and they don't like it. So that is one disadvantage of these types of bands, is that they can shift or move. Again, I don't believe that it influences your workout all that much, as long as it's still on the correct spot and you've got good form. But there's something that mentally a lot of times will make people fuddle with it and feel, they don't like the snappy sound it makes. So if that is you and you're not used to working with the band, then you might prefer a fabric band or just no band at all. Those other bands that I showed earlier on in this video, you can take like some of the tubing and that type of thing and tie it around the legs too, or you can always just ditch it if you are not a fan of the band. But I think they're great. Hopefully I can inspire you to do them too. So my goal today was just to kind of go through exercises or how you would use these bands, not show you actual exercises, but I want to hear from you. Have you used the glute band before? If you take Barre from me or any of my low impact fitness classes, you'll definitely get an opportunity to use one of these guys. But even if you have or haven't taken a class from me, what do you think about the band? Have you ever used it before? And what are your thoughts? So I purposefully just talk about the band themselves, not what exercises you use them for, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. So let me know if you like bands, if you don't, what you use them for. And thanks again for watching.